Okay, what up, family? So I decided that I would just go ahead and put some information out there. I kind of looked into that caught my attention during that Cosby trial. Now, this ain't necessarily got to do with Cosby, but I think the point that I'll be making is just to show the hypocrisy in one, the judicial system, and then two, in how the media decides to cover what they, deem newsworthy. So now, remember, family, Bill Cosby, he facing like 30 years for, just being found guilty of that charge of, I don't know, fondling that lady or whatever. But, all right, that's 30 years that he facing. Now, I want to make y'all aware of an individual named Keith Raniere. Now, Keith Raniere, he facing 15 years to life in prison. So now, let me give y'all a little background on this guy, Keith Raniere, and then, you know, as I kept looking into it, it just kept unraveling into you know a lot of different tentacles, and just something a little deeper than just this guy Keith Raniere. So, and then it also kind of it slowly. I guess I could be wrong, but I'm still kind of I'm sharing with y'all as I'm kind of putting it together too. But it's kind of looking like the reason why you won't really hear too much about this individual is due to his connections. So I'm gonna go into a little bit about his connections too. So all right, now it says, let me just read to y'all kind of what I just jotted down as far as when I was looking this up. It says co-founder of Nixon was arrested in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico in March for charges of sex trafficking and conspiracy to commit forced labor. He is accused of raping girls as young as 12, imprisoning a woman for 18 months, and forcing one follower to run into a tree and drink from a puddle. Raniere is said to have created a secret society within Nixon called DOS, standing for Dominus Obsequious Sororium, which is Latin for Lord Master of the Obedient Female Companions. DOS, prosecutors say, is an organized criminal group structured like a pyramid with level of slaves headed by masters. Slaves are expected to recruit slaves of their own, who in turn owe service not only to their own masters, but also to masters above them in the DOS pyramid. DOS operated in the Eastern District of New York and other parts of the United States, Canada, and Mexico. So, this is an organization within an organization started by this individual, Keith Raniere. So now, like I said, I started off letting y'all know he facing 15 years to life in prison. So just keep that in mind. So let me give y'all a little background about this organization, I guess, that you can kind of readily find. But it was founded in 1998 by Keith Raniere and Sarah Brofman. Her name gonna come into play in a minute, y'all. So Nixum is outwardly a multi-level marketing organization that offers personal and professional development seminars costing upwards of $1,000 a day. Their official website describes them as a company whose mission is to raise human awareness, foster an ethical humanitarian civilization, and excuse me, and celebrate what it means to be human. So now, when I was mentioning earlier about his connections, that's Sarah Brofman. We're gonna touch on that too. But before we go there, let me just give y'all a little background on one of the things I had mentioned that he was accused of raping a 12-year-old girl. So I decided, I'd look into it and see what I could find. So I found an article from a newspaper in Syracuse. So now I'm gonna post a link for that so y'all can check it yourself. But anyway, it says Nixon cult leader Keith Raniere. Now hold up. Now y'all notice that they're addressing this organization now as a cult. So, or anyway, Keith Raniere has been accused of raping a 12-year-old girl in upstate New York, according to Newport documents. According to the Daily Mail, Raniere's group hired the girl as a dog walker specifically so he could get close to her in 1990 when he was in his late 20s in Clifton Park, New York. He then showered the girl with attention, grooming her for a sexual relationship when she was 12 and taking her virginity. Attorney Richard Donahue told the judge that Raniere argued the age of sexual consent should be lowered and that rape and incest should not be considered crimes. The age of consent in New York State is 17. The defendant has a decades-long history of abusing women and girls, the prosecutor wrote in a letter arguing Raniere should not be released on bail. The Albany Times-Union reported in 2012 that Raniere was also accused of having sex with an underage girl in 1984. She was 15 or 16 at the time, but Raniere, then 24, claimed the girl's soul was much older than her biological age, and she was a Buddhist goddess meant to be with him. Raniere allegedly told girls and women that sex with him would be a spiritual experience, a transfer of his godlike energy. So, all right, y'all hear what we got going on with this individual, Keith Raniere. So, now, the last part of this little article says the alleged victim, who has not been identified, reported Raniere to the police in 1993. According to the Times-Union, the case never moved forward because no forensic evidence was available and she refused to wear a wire and confront Raniere. So, as y'all see, like, this individual, Keith Raniere, now, the background I gave, remember, like I said, 15 years to life in prison. So, let's all go a little bit deeper than this. So, let me just, matter of fact, let me show y'all a clip that I ran across that also kind of, let me know, okay, this is something a little deeper. So, all right, check this out.
We're going to turn now to disturbing new allegations against the mysterious self-help group NXIVM, the leader of that group, in addition to the actress Allison Mack appearing in court. And now there are troubling accusations against a doctor connected to the group. Amy, I know you've been following the story for us.
I have, and Robin, I have to say, these are haunting, stomach-churning allegations. A former NXIVM member saying a doctor, described as the group's resident physician, forced her to watch videos depicting acts of extreme violence and then filmed her reaction. This morning, U.S. attorneys say more arrests are imminent in the case surrounding the secretive self-help group NXIVM, the organization accused of branding women and forcing them to act as sex slaves.
Ms. Mack, do you have anything to say?
With actress Allison Mack coming face-to-face with reporters outside federal court Friday, avoiding questions as she faces sex trafficking charges in connection to her alleged involvement with the organization she once promoted in videos like this.
When I first came, I had on the surface something that seemed to be like the perfect life or a pretty good life.
Mack, best known for her role in Smallville.
I can explain later. I did what I had to do.
Appearing in court for a pre-trial hearing, seated near Keith Raniere, said to be NXIVM's leader. The pair seen together in this video released by the organization.
So one would say authenticity is being as you are and expressing as you are.
I don't know why. That makes me want to cry.
Wait a minute, child. You don't know why that makes you want to. You crazy. That's why it make you want to cry. My bad, family. All right, check the rest of this out. Check this out.
Say Mack actively worked on recruiting women for Raniere. In 2016, Mack reached out to Harry Potter star Emma Watson, tweeting, "I'm a fellow actress like yourself and involved in an amazing women's movement I think you'd dig. I'd love to chat if you're open." But Watson never responded. Raniere's attorneys say NXIVM's members aren't forced into joining the group or participating in any activities.
Women joined of their own volition, for their own reasons, and as part of what they felt they wanted to sort of accomplish in life.
Both Mack and...
Wait a minute. Just a side thought. Where is the Me Too movement? You would think they would be all over this, or just the fact that during the same time Bill Cosby's allegations or accusations was going on, this was known. Those same lawyers that's representing those women, they knew about this trial. I mean, they knew about these accusations. Like, where was this at? But, again, the media, when they decide, who they want to villainize, that's the right word, but, that's what it is. And you won't find out one person that will say that the actions of Cosby compares to Keith Raniere. So now I'm gonna just let this play, but all right, check this out.
To sort of accomplish in life,
Both Mack and Raniere have pleaded not guilty. As ABC News has learned, a medical doctor said to be affiliated with the group is now under investigation by the New York State Health Department for allegedly improperly conducting research studies on members. Documents obtained by ABC News outlining charges against Dr. Brandon Porter, accusing him of moral unfitness, gross negligence, and gross incompetence, saying, among other things, that Porter allegedly performed an unsanctioned fright study on NXIVM group members, including allegedly recording them and monitoring their brain activity as they watched graphically violent videos depicting murder and sexual assault. Now, Porter has been charged by a New York State oversight board with illegally conducting human experiments. His accuser says he may have performed the so-called fright study on up to 100 people. Keith Raniere and Allison Mack have denied any wrongdoing. Robin.
Now, of course, they're gonna deny any wrongdoing, but y'all hear these allegations? Now, my bad, but y'all heard them, and we talking about some of these fright studies, upwards to 100 people. So I looked into that, and I'm gonna share with y'all what that's about, and a little bit of more information about this Dr. Robert Porter. Well, all right, check this out.
Raniere and Allison Mack have denied any wrongdoing. Robin, so the story continues.
I'm telling you what, when you get into the details and we can't share all of them here, oof,
Frightening.
What we
it's
heard is bad
frightening.
enough.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you can't share all the details here, but I got time, so I can. All right, now check this out. Now, y'all heard him mention Allison Mack. So I just want to give y'all a little background on her. Some of y'all might already be familiar with her if y'all watched that TV show, I don't know, some years ago, Smallville, I think it was, the Superman character when he was young or whatever. So she was his boyfriend, his girlfriend or whatever. So y'all see what y'all looking at right here. We're looking at some brandings. So, and I think that's highlighted well, the KR, and then next to that you see the AM. So these initials, Keith Raniere and Allison Mack. All right, now let me just read to y'all what I kind of jotted down. Mack served as Raniere's lieutenant and pimp who presented the cult as women's empowerment group or sorority. According to prosecutors, it's alleged that she starved, enslaved, and branded women while ensuring their silence was blackmail in the form of damaging information or criminal confessions the women were required to make as a condition of entry into the group. Under the guise of female empowerment, she starved women until they fit her co-defendant's sexual feminine ideal, U.S. District Attorney Maura Penza said at Mack's arraignment. Mack was arrested on April 20th and released on $5 million bond 4 days later. So that's a little bit about who y'all saw. You see these brands, and it's another little part that y'all gonna see something, real crazy about that. So again, like I said, I kind of looked into this Dr. Brandon Porter and that fright study. So after, of course, keep looking, I found out that these fright studies, one of them was a video of, well, it may have been 4 different videos, but it was a video of dismemberment of 4 women by machetes, and then he was showing them violent little movie clips. And one of the clips included, in this article, a male African American being viciously stomped by a Nazi, a conscious male being forced to eat a portion of his own brain matter, and a graphic gang rape. So, as y'all can see, they talking about that. So now this Dr. Brandon Porter, he's also charged with violating state law for improperly conducting studies on obsessive compulsive disorder, Tourette's syndrome, and monitoring the brain waves of those who attended Nixon programs. Porter worked for St. Peter's Hospital in Albany until October, when he resigned after the New York Times reported that at least 20 women associated with Nixon were lured into a secret club within the organization that required them to consent to being branded in their pubic area. So those pictures, you see where those is coming from. The woman said they were never told that the unusual looking brand was a design that included the initials of Raniere and Allison Mack. So she, the prosecutor is saying that she co-founded that secret part of that organization, which we know is called DOS, um, which is part of this Nixon. Now looking into this Dr. Brandon Porter, I'm gonna show y'all this little clip, and I'm gonna touch on something that he said in this clip that I found about him. So, all right, now check this out.
Just last week, I spotted him in his home, removing several boxes from the garage, the same home that was raided by the FBI in March. The documents also allege that during a gathering in 2016 in Silver Lake, Porter declined to report that hundreds of people became sick with flu-like symptoms.
One thing that a physician is obligated to do is to report an outbreak, and especially concerning is that 50 or 60 of them were apparently children, and especially concerning is that 50 or 60 of them were apparently children, and especially concerning is that 50 or 60 of them were apparently children.
Okay, so y'all heard that 50 to 60 children. I mean, that's ridiculous. And so this is a guy that's employed by this Keith Raniere. So, he's running all type of tests on individuals and so what I wanted to do is just give because of course I had to look into that once I kind of heard that, like, why in the world is this not getting reported? And so remember when I said, family, like, the media will do an excellent job at demonizing an individual or creating a villain, and that's what it is. It's over after they say this person is a villain. So now that when I said, like, I couldn't understand why I wasn't really hearing too much about this. Now this took place in August, I believe, like on the 23rd. This so-called outbreak. Um, Now, family, August 23rd, 3 days later, on the 26th of August of 2016, is when Kaepernick took that knee. I think it was in San Diego. Once that happened, the media just jumped all over there. Y'all know how they did that. So now the whole time that was going on, this individual, he was, doing what he was doing and having the people working under him, continue with all kind of nonsense. So I just wanted to point that out, but I wanted to share something because I had to look that up. I had to look and see if I could find anything about that incident. So let me just share, something that I jotted down, and then I'm gonna, put the website up there, or put the link in the comment section so y'all can check into it if y'all find it interesting. But this is from it's called the Frank Report. It's from a website that was touching on this topic. Now, before I read this, let me just tell y'all this Frank Report, because, like, I have to sometimes kind of fact check pretty much everything before I share it with y'all, because I don't want to end up sharing some information that turned out to be from somebody that that ain't valid, and just just trying to catch attention. So this guy who did this website, the Frank Report, he is a former employee of Nixon, is what I found out, and he had a lawsuit. I don't know if it's finished or is still pending or something against Keith Raniere and that organization. So I believe he was like a lawyer for for that group, Nixon. So, all right, anyway, let me read this real quick, and this just give me some insight on this doctor and kind of how that organization, what's going on with it, is and some insight on what the news left out in that segment, because they told you 50 or 60 kids, but it was upwards 300 people that was there, and 50 or 60 of them were children, but everybody got sick. All right, so let me read this. This is from the Frank Report. It says, it was after promotions and into the second week when almost everyone got some kind of illness. It appeared to be food poisoning, or perhaps it was a strange flu. People began vomiting and had diarrhea. Well, hold on. Let me back up just a little bit, because this week, now this outbreak, or like you heard the guy just say on that clip, this took place during what is called Vanguard Week or V Week. Vanguard is the name or the title that Keith Raniere chose for his employees to address him by. Now, now back to what this article was saying. Okay, it says that parents gave it to their children. All the children got sick, and some of them passed it back again to their parents. All of Rainbow was wiped out. Even some of the proctors got sick. But Keith Raniere, aka the Vanguard, like I said, is which a name that he wanted his employees to call him, and which this week is named after. But Keith Raniere, aka the Vanguard, and Nancy Salzman, aka the Prefect, and the higher ups did not get sick. Laura Salzman and Emiliano Salinas, who had taken over the MC duties because Clara Bronfman was not there in 2016, seemed unfazed by the illness that seemed to spread everywhere. The top brass of Nixon ordered all who were sick to go to their rooms. People were told they were not allowed to leave their rooms. The leaders of Nixon explained they were concerned about Pam Caffrey, who was very sick. She died within 4 months of renal cancer. They said they were worried that if anybody came into contact with her, it might kill her. People were essentially quarantined in their rooms. So now, I'm not gonna read the whole article, but just letting y'all know a little bit about what that guy was talking about on that news clip. But it is something here, like at the end of this article, I want to share with y'all real quick. It said the illness was still lingering when people left at the end of V Week 2016. Some were afraid to drive or fly home, frightened they would have another attack of diarrhea heading back to Albany or wherever it was they called home. When students left, the leaders told them not to tell anybody what happened. They were told to say that it was a flu, but not to use the language food poisoning. Those whose minds leap to thoughts of conspiracy have suggested that Keith, the scientist, may have experimented with the food to learn some important lessons about human reaction. It might have been a drug experimentation on Keith's part. People who think the worst of Keith said maybe he meant to intentionally hasten Pam's death. It is well known she is wealthy. It is said he inherited her estate. So now that is from the Frank report. So just kind of, giving you a little background about that incident that took place in Silver Springs, New York. It was like at a YMCA facility that they rent out for 2 weeks. And they say that the people who come there, they pay, upwards. I mean, I'm not actually sure. I'm going to have to double check, but I know that they said that they paid like 3 times the rate for some of the cabins that they had there. And they rented out for an entire 2 weeks, I believe. So, all right, but that's as far as that little incident in Silver Springs, New York. But like I said, the people that he is connected with, this Sarah Bronfman, I think what I may have to do is, matter of fact, I will, family. I think just to keep everything kind of moving and not too long, I'm gonna put together a whole separate little thing about Sarah Bronfman because and her sister, that family. It's on. Once you hear that, then you will see like it's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. And again, the news, they just do an excellent job of putting out there, like really useless information. I mean, nothing to really better you, and then it'd be biased information. But anyway, that's like I said, those Brofmans, um, you know, it's $1 million family. It's gonna tie. I mean, maybe even more, probably $1 billion. But I'm gonna show how it tied to the Clintons as well as I think the one guy named what's his name, Branson, and even the Dalai Lama. So yeah, I think that'd be better if I just put that together in one video. So, all right, family, I just wanted to put that out there about Keith Raniere and just make it a point to show like the hypocrisy in the reporting. I mean, how in the world does a guy like this fly under the radar, but they continue to show you all types of stuff? Like I said, 3 days after the incident up there in Silver Springs is when Kaepernick took that knee. So you know how the media jumped all over that, and they, so But that's just the intentions that I was trying to put together, is just to show y'all, like, man, they, you know, it's crazy. And then you see, you have people having long discussions on social media about, Cosby and his personal life, and, you know, basing everything off of accusations. And, it's just ridiculous. But the whole time, it's individuals that's doing way worse than me, and having just as much influence on people to, do all kind of crazy shit. Like I said, I mean, this guy's having these women branded. Um, I mean, like I said, those Fright studies they showed, I tried to show y'all, like, I mean, you running these type of tests on people up to 100 people. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you're not slipping little Quaaludes and stuff and people drink and fondling them and having, sex or something. You're not doing that. You got people up here, doing interviews looking like absolute brainwashed, crazy fools, being impressed by some of the most simplest things that he could say. Like, and then that might almost, now to think about it, that Silver Springs incident, it could, depending on what type of individual this was, man, I mean, that could have been like a precursor for that, almost like a Jim Jones type thing where he gave everybody Kool-Aid and told them it was, time to go. So, I mean, this guy, like I said, he was down in Mexico, in a big, big money villa. And again, this Sarah Brofman, when it come out, she the money behind all of this, and her family, we talking about old money, some of that Seagram's money. And when I say Seagram's, that's kind of giving you a little heads up about what type of individual we talking about, and the heirs to that type of money, to be specific. So I'm gonna leave that there, and then, like I said, I'm gonna just put together a little short video about who this guy is, and then y'all can kind of do y'all little search if y'all find this interesting, or Google search, I should say, and y'all can find out about what's going on with that case right now, because I think some of these people, uh, their trial date has been set, I believe, and maybe for the doctor in October, and maybe for Raniere in October as well. But so that's about it. So once y'all check that out, let me know with a comment or something. All right, peace.